Welcome to the Alchemy Lounge podcast, and in this week's episode we are going to be talking all about moon signs. Not only working with this week's full moon in Pisces, but also how your moon sign can really help you on an emotional level and nurturing your well-being as a business owner. So stay tuned. I'm your host, Victoria Quance, a lifelong practicing witch and author of The Witch Way to Manifest. And after helping hundreds of people all around the world with incorporating practical magic into their business and lifestyle, I bring to you the first podcast blending personal psychology and the power of the universe with practical tools and modern alchemy to show you how to enhance your business and your well-being in the most natural way possible. This is the Alchemy Lounge podcast, where magic becomes your competitive advantage, not just a hobby. Hello, my loves, and welcome to this week's episode of the Alchemy Lounge podcast. So today we are going to be talking about moon signs. And if you are listening to this on the week that this episode actually drops, so we will land on the 24th of August. We have the full moon in Pisces on the 28th of August. So I just want to open up this episode by talking a little bit about the current astrological goings on before we dive a little bit deeper into your moon sign and how it can really help nurture you as a business owner. Now, the full moon in Pisces on the 28th, Pisces is all about making the invisible visible. So this is a moon where it may take you a little bit by surprise. You may see things that you hadn't noticed before around your business, or even in the industry that you're in, okay? Anything that has been a little bit illusionary or a little bit sort of mysterious or a little bit uncertain, this full moon can really shine a light on it and make it visible for you and able to actually interpret it and use it as well. So you can expect a lot of revelations, a lot of potential insights, and also a lot of kind of different ways of thinking around this full moon. So if that happens to you over the next couple of days, just allow it, just welcome it, and expand your mind as much as you can. Allow yourself to feel what comes through for you. Pisces is very much a feeling energy, but also see where it's directing you, see where it wants you to flow. Okay, what is being highlighted for you is being highlighted for a reason. So see where it wants you to go. Now, the other two very interesting things that are going on in the skies right now, without going into tons of detail, I just want you to be aware of it, because we have what is called a T-square going on at the moment, which is where we have the Sun, Moon, Mercury and Uranus all in like a little T-square kind of shape. And we also have what is sometimes called the finger of God. And this is the Sun, Neptune and Pluto. And it looks like a finger, right? So that's why the way that they're placed in the sky, it looks like a finger. And this is literally asking you, where is this finger pointing in your business? Combined with that full moon and combined with that T-square, where are you being guided to redirect or make a change? Remember, the invisible is now becoming visible. So what needs looking at? What needs to change? What direction would you be better off heading in? This is a time where we want to trust our intuition over what we may seem or may deem to be logical. So what may seem realistic, what may seem like the sensible option, if our intuition is saying otherwise, we want to lean into that a little bit more. It's not about being reckless or being silly. It's about trusting our intuition, trusting those nudges and trusting where you're being redirected to. Okay. So see how that shows up for you over the next couple of days. Do let me know in the comments as well. I love to hear how the cosmos has helped you redirect and realign to something much, much better than what you could ever have imagined. But today I really want to focus on moon signs. And this Pisces energy is a gorgeous time for connecting into our moon signs, because we want to turn inwards. We want to trust that intuition a little bit more. And your moon sign is all about your intuition. So it will actually show you your key intuitive channel for those of you that do like to work with your guides or your spirit team or connect to your own higher self. Your moon sign is a fantastic gateway to that. But also, as a business owner, and even if you're not a business owner, it is your emotional fuel source. So the way that you currently replenish your fuel, the way that you nurture yourself, whatever self-care practices you have, if it is a match for your moon sign, it will fill you up. If it isn't a match for your moon sign, you will actually find it drains you more than it replenishes you. And this is why quite often you will sometimes find that certain practices that are supposed to be like nourishing and restorative, you actually don't really get it, and you're like, yeah, that does nothing for me. I have this with things like cold water dips and I'm trying to think what else doesn't really resonate with me. I'm quite, very open to self-care practices, but cold water dips is one of those things that I've never really understood, never really got on board with, especially as a woman. Like, I want to keep my womb space nice and warm and cozy. Thank you. I don't want to be freezing it. But I know a lot of women absolutely adore cold water dips and get a lot of restoration from it. So that's just one example of how, depending on your moon sign, will determine what kind of activities and well-being practices actually fill you up rather than drain you. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples so you can check your moon sign if you don't already know. You can grab your free natal chart either on astro.com or Cafe Astrology. They're the two sites that I tend to use. And you want to just have a little check through what sign the moon was in the moment you were born. So you will probably already know your sun sign, which is your star sign. You may even know your rising or your ascending sign, but we want to be focusing on our moon sign today. And this is just one of the things that we're going to be going into much more detail in our 3-day experience that is coming up at the start of September, the moon as your business coach. So there will be an entire day dedicated to moon signs and restoration and well-being for business owners from a slightly witchy and cosmic perspective. So do make sure you register for that experience at vqlifestyle.com/moon or check the link in the show notes. So your moon sign, depending on what sign it is in, will determine how you are refueled in the best way. So for example, if you have your moon sign in Aries, you will really benefit from well-being practices that are actually not that restful. They are more momentum based. So, those people that go for a run and then they feel really relaxed. There we go. There's another example of a well-being practice that I do not understand. Running isn't it for me. The same with the cold water dips. I knew there would be another example. So if you have your moon sign in Aries, you will love movement and momentum. So as counterintuitive as that may sound, that's actually what fills up your cup. So we still need to have an element of movement in your restoration processes. You will also really benefit from really novel experiences. So I don't know, if you sign up for like a fitness challenge or like an Ironman or something like that, that will actually really replenish you and be really, really good for your well-being. Even though physically it's going to be exerting you, it actually does a lot for you from a wellness perspective. It really replenishes you, and in turn, when you are replenished as a business owner, so is your business. So for any Aries moon babes, we want novelty, we want movement, we want momentum. Okay, it's that fire in you, isn't it? It's the fire sign. If we look at Taurus as a very different example, if your moon sign is in Taurus, you will really benefit from very sensory based activities, you may find you have neurodivergence in your I was going to say in your nasal chart, then neurodivergence isn't in your nasal chart. Can you spot the neurodivergent podcast host? You will possibly be neurodivergent or have some potential traits or tendencies. I wonder if neurodivergence does show up in astrology, actually. That's going to be a rabbit hole for me to dive down later on, isn't it? But for my Taurian moon babes, sensory activities and anything that really grounds you. Now, grounding can be things that we don't expect. So when we refer to grounding, we typically think of literally being outside in nature, feet on the floor, barefoot, in the grass, in the sand, in the mud, whatever, and physically anchoring and grounding that way. That is one way to ground. But there are multiple ways that you can actually feel grounded and supported. So I encourage you to feel into what makes you feel safe and what brings you that sense of being grounded. And if you have a lot of air placements in the rest of your chart, this definitely applies to me. Guess what my moon sign is? But if you have a lot of air in the rest of your chart, then we need that grounding, because we can spend a lot of time in our heads and little time in our bodies. So anything that's going to bring you back into your body is going to help you feel safe, and also, remind you that you're a human and you're here in a human vessel. So that can be really beneficial for you, as well as anything that brings you either routine. So you might be somebody who benefits from actually having a wellness routine or a self-care routine, or some kind of predictability. So whereas the Aries moon placements really like that novelty and variety, if you have a Taurus moon placement, you will really appreciate the predictability. Okay, so a complete contrast. Now, if you have your moon sign in Gemini, you are one of the people who absolutely do not want to be in isolation. Okay, when you're resting and you're recharging, one of the things that will do nothing for you is having alone time. Because if your moon sign is in Gemini, you need conversation, you need stimulation through intellect and having other people to bounce off. So for you, actually going on a group retreat would be really beneficial, because you're around people, and yes, there will be times that you do have alone time, but being in solitude isn't what's going to recharge you and fill your cup. Being around people is actually going to recharge you and fill your cup. So again, similar to Aries in this instance, you like the variety, but the conversation and the intellectual connection is really important to you. So if you find yourself unable to have that human connection, by all means, you can have animal connection. You can chat to your pets. That will also help you. But failing that, listening to podcasts, reading books, anything that's going to really get your juices flowing in an intellectual way is actually going to fill your cup. Okay, that's how you're going to refuel. So you probably spend a lot of your downtime learning, engaging with new ideas, new materials, listening to podcasts, listening to music or sound frequencies. Also really good for a Gemini moon placement. If you have your moon sign in Virgo, Virgo is always a funny one, I find, when it comes to the moon placement, because Virgo loves systems. But when we're talking about your emotional needs, this is because I don't have Virgo in my moon. So I'm like, how on earth could you have your emotional needs met by systems? And for ages, I was like, I don't really understand what that would be. And I was trying to help clients that have got their moon in Virgo, and I was like, you want systems? Okay, how could this translate into supporting you emotionally? But this can be as simple as having a spreadsheet for your finances. Because If your moon is in Virgo, you love a system, you love anything analytical, but that's what actually nourishes you and helps your emotional well-being. So actually, having your finances all on a spreadsheet will actually nourish you. It sounds a little bit bonkers to me because, that actually fills me with more anxiety than it does well-being. But try it if you have your moon in Virgo. Other things that Virgos really like is apps. So again, because it's like a system, it's like a piece of technology. So like the Mind app, for example, or is it Calm, another app that has like meditations and things on it. So anything where there is a system in place to help support you emotionally, you will find really beneficial, because if you've got your moon in Virgo, like, it needs to be something tangible so you can actually see like the point of it. Otherwise, Virgo placements tend to kind of neglect self-care and wellness a little bit, because if they can't see the physical difference or the physical result or the physical output from it, their analytical brains just kind of go, well, what's the point then? So if that is you, see where you can have a bit of a system in place to nurture your emotions and your emotional needs. Okay. For another example, if you are in a relationship and you're like, my emotional needs are not being met, and you find that you've got your moon sign in Virgo, it might be that you almost need a schedule for like date nights, or for communicating on like the big issues and basically meeting your emotional needs. It needs like a structure to it for you. And that might seem a little bit bonkers to begin with, but just try it and see how it actually helps you and how it actually supports your well-being. The last example I want to share with you is for anyone who has their moon sign in Pisces. And these are pretty much the opposite to our moon in Gemini people. So Pisces needs space. If your moon sign is in Pisces, you need space, and you also need time to process things. So Pisces feels things very, very deeply. And if you don't have that time and space on your own to actually process and go through things and allow things to move through you, then your emotions will get stuck. Okay, you need to allow them to process and to move. Because remember, emotions is energy in motion. So with the Pisces placement, we want to allow that to flow. It's a water sign as well, right? So we need that time and space for things to literally flow and get in motion and be processed and then utilized however it's best being utilized. But also, to nourish a Pisces moon, we also want some aspect of creativity. It's a very intuitive placement, so you will probably find that a lot of divination practices really serve you well, but also anything where you can be creative. And that could even be like an outlet for how you're feeling emotionally. So linking this back to you being a business owner, if you're finding that things are getting on top of you a little bit in your business, and you don't know which way to go, you don't know why things are kind of panning out the way that they are, it's not how you expected things to go, and it's getting a little bit overwhelming, you need that time and space away. But also, you will probably benefit from journaling these things out, from consulting your oracle cards, from connecting to your guides, or from allowing some sort of artistic creativity to allow that release of emotions. So I've seen it before with clients who have got their moon in Pisces, where they find that art is a really creative outlet, or things like crocheting or crafts can really benefit, because it just gets you out of the feeling of things not going as planned and getting overwhelmed, to actually getting back into flow. And with the Pisces moon, once you're in that flow state, that's naturally then going to transpire into your business as well. So that's the lovely thing with all of the moon signs is, yes, it's about your emotions. It's about how you fill up your cup, especially if you are someone who is giving so much to others inside and outside of your business. Filling up your own cup is a non-negotiable, because otherwise you have nothing to give. And that's not great for your business, and it's certainly not great for your personal life either. So there is that side of it that we want to be considerate of, because in my eyes, well-being of a business owner is even more important than any strategy, because without you, what's left of your business? Who's going to take over? Who's running it? Okay, so we need to nurture the human behind the business, because you are a human, you're not a machine. So that's just one aspect of it. But also, your moon sign will link to the emotions and the emotional needs of your business as well. So if we go back to the Aries example of needing novelty and momentum and movement, yes, you need that as the business owner, but your business also needs that. So if you find that your business is at a point where it's either not performing as you thought it would or how it used to, or it's reached a little bit of stagnation, imagine it like a person. It has emotional needs as well. And I've even known people who actually have a separate birth chart for their business, which by all means you can do. If you know either the day like you first registered your website, or the day you first registered your business with HMRC, for example, like you can, if you want to, have an actual birth chart for your business. I personally find there are too many potential dates that could be. So is it the date that you had the idea? Is it, the date you launched your website, or you made a social media page, or you registered for with the government? There's too many possibilities of dates that could be. So for me, as someone who is developing a personal brand as well, even though I am separate from my business, I'm still in it, right? So I use my own birth chart, and that's what I guide all my clients to do as well, because that works wonderfully. But your business will also have emotional needs. So if you have your moon sign in Aries, let's say that your business also has a moon sign in Aries. So if it's reached a point where it feels stagnant, or it feels like it's running on empty, bring in the novelty, the momentum, and the movement. Do something completely different. Okay, completely change direction, bring in something new, something exciting, and just see how that also not only feeds your emotional needs, but your business's needs as well. Okay, because they go hand in hand. Even though we are separate from it, we are still fueling it, right? A lot of the time. So if you would like to go deeper with this, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to do 3 whole days, a gorgeous 3-day experience called The Moon is Your Business Coach. And this is where on day 1, we are going to be going through your moon sign. In fact, I think it might be day 2 that we look at your moon signs in a lot more detail. But I'm going to be talking about the whole 3-day experience in next week's podcast episode. So do make sure you tune in. But if you haven't yet registered, make sure you click the link in the show notes, or head over to vqlifestyle.com/moon and get yourself registered for that 3-day experience, because we are going to be using the moon as your business coach, like the title says. But this is going to really help you not only get organized in your business, it's going to help you replenish your needs as the business owner, plus a few little surprises and lovely little extras in there as well. So you can really see how the moon and how astrology can actually expand and support your business way beyond your wildest dreams and anything that you've ever imagined before. This is the way of the cosmic CEO, and I can't wait to share it with you. And like I say, I will talk more about this on next week's episode. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Alchemy Lounge podcast. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share this with someone you feel would benefit from this magic as well. And remember, you can collect some freebies and goodies all over on my website, vqlifestyle.com, including the 5-day reset for your business and your well-being. And of course, the Witch's Blueprint, which is integral for your business to help show you how you can work with astrology and tarot to enhance your business in the best way possible. Thank you again, and I will see you on the next episode.